Oh, they done messed around and gave Squirrel Girl a bathing suit. Oh my God. We are eating good right now, Marvel Rivals fans. Take my money, take it now. I'm throwing it at you. Just take it. YouTube, what's going on, man? It's Father Dark, and this video we're gonna be covering the Marvel Rivals, like the latest issue of the Marvel Rivals comic book, and a lot of the skins that I saw in there for the Hellfire Gala. Now, for those of you that don't know, they do have a comic book that kind of it's like supposed to tie into the game and different stuff like that. Now, I wasn't aware of this. I actually took my boys to the comic book store yesterday. It was Monday now when I'm recording this video early in the morning. But yesterday on Sunday, I took them to the comic book store. They like to pick up a bunch of different comic books. They're really into Spider-Man and stuff like that. So, I went there to grab issues 1 through 7 for myself to read through them. I was waiting until they got like to wait until there's a few different issues instead of getting them weekly or monthly or however they release. Nonetheless, though, I didn't realize it at the time. They actually only have the first issue out as a physical copy. And we're up to issue 7 now. That's the one that I'm going to be covering. So, I guess I'll have to sign up for whatever the Marvel app is that allows you to be able to read comic books and stuff like that. But you get a free skin for the thing anyway. So, why not? I think the first month trial is free anyway. But, like I said, I prefer to get physical copies. I have a pretty decent comic book collection myself. I'm not really into reading comics online. I prefer to actually feel the pages and, be able to put it in my collection on my shelf and stuff like that. So that's just me personally. But, yeah, definitely I would recommend, supporting the local comic book store, all that kind of jazz, et cetera, et cetera. Nonetheless, though, let's go ahead and jump into it. Oh, and before I get into that, I just want to say, too, I put up 2 different thumbnails. One was the thumbnail with Squirrel Girl, and the other one was one with Magik. If you clicked on the Squirrel Girl thumbnail, I already know what kind of person you are, and you seem like you're a person of culture. Definitely respect to you on that one. Nonetheless, though, let's go ahead and jump into it. So, first skin that I want to talk about is Jeff. Now, I probably have the least amount of time in the game with of any character with Jeff, but I definitely I appreciate Jeff's overall just character and how he himself is just always he's either creating mayhem and just giving everybody a hard time, or he's just chilling and completely minding his business. It really doesn't seem like there's any in between with him. But as we can see in this picture right here, Jeff, he's on the beach. He's got on like some kind of little like floral thing around his neck. He's got on like a little hat. This hat to me kind of looks like something like an old lady would wear at church. Is that just me? Or yeah, but anyway, yeah, he's got on like some kind of little like top or whatever, and bro's just sitting there, building a sandcastle, man, minding his business. That's Jeff for you, right? He's just chilling. So I think that'd be a pretty cool skin for people that are into Jeff. Next, I want to talk about this one right here. This one looks like Doctor Strange. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, but I don't really know who else that would be, but it looks like Doctor Strange to me. It looks like a very chill type of outfit, I think, for anybody that's into Doctor Strange. Also, probably as far as tanks go, he's probably one that I have the least amount of time with as well. Just, not really my style. I usually leave that to better tank players than myself, but I think this one would be a really chill skin. Next, I wanted to look at this picture right here. Now, this picture I think is interesting because you can't really tell in the back like a lot of detail. I can kind of pick out certain characters like far in the back. I see it looks like the Thing in a suit and tie. I can't quite tell. From how far away it is and the lack of detail, but I can tell you got Wolverine back there. Now, we already know that skin is coming, at some point in time. I don't know if that's going to be a paid skin or what the case is. I don't think it's in the Battle Pass. I have to look again, but I'm pretty sure it's not in the Battle Pass. But we do know for a fact that's one that we saw in the trailers, and you can see they're talking to a lot of different people back there. But like I said, at this distance in the picture, it's kind of hard to make out who's who back there. I see some people in like a long flow dress, like the orange dress, and I see the green one back there. So a lot of different people there. I mean, that's usually how it is with the Hellfire Gala. And I just wanted to say too, we can see Magik and I'm sorry, not Magik, but Wanda in her outfit. I believe that's Star-Lord behind her. I don't know who that is actually. Actually, from the way the hair is, I don't think that's Star-Lord. It's probably somebody else. And I don't know who exactly Wanda is talking to. But then further in the back in the left, we can see Thor, and that Thor skin, that looks like the one that we saw in the trailer that was actually the one from his original Hellfire Gala that he had originally in the comic books. the first time around. But next to him, though, you can see Penny. Now, Penny, the thing is like a lot of people have been talking about it. And I think it's a good point is that Penny, she's one of probably the most played tanks, especially for like people on console. I'm on PC, but I know for a fact they say like on console, Penny has like one of the highest pick rates as far as a tank goes. And people love Penny, but she doesn't have a lot of skins, which is really weird to me, right? Like I feel like all the other tanks get a lot of love, but Penny, she just kind of has like her basic skins and that one, the purple one that came with the PlayStation bundle originally, or not bundle, but the PlayStation pack, and then they released it later on for everybody and stuff. So I do think that's interesting. Now, one other thing I want to point out too is that there's actually a skin for the the Spider-Man skin that came in the Battle Pass this time around. There was actually, when that was originally leaked months and months ago, they had like artwork for it, and they had Spider-Man on the left, and then on the right they had one for Penny that looks almost identical to, not identical, but it has like the same type of style for that skin that the Spider-Man one does. That's in the Battle Pass this time around. So I'm wondering if they're going to release that soon, since they just brought out the Spider-Man skin and released that one. I'm wondering if they're going to release that one anytime soon, or if they're holding off. But it seems like it would make sense to release. If the skins are similar, you know what I mean, and they kind of fit a certain theme, it would make sense to release them, close to each other and stuff. So the next skin that I want to talk about is the Storm, this one right here. Now this one, I really like this one. Me personally, I know a lot of people, they prefer when Storm wears black. Like that's what a lot of people tend to, when they post skins that they like and want stuff. But me personally, I've always preferred Storm in white, maybe just because I feel like it kind of matches her hair and stuff, and I feel like she just looks better in lighter colors in regards to like her dress and stuff. Like for example, the Ivory Breeze skin that she has, which to me looks like the one from the original X-Men cartoon that she had. Those are always been my favorite skins for her. So I would definitely grab this one immediately if that one comes out. I really like this one. It just looks really chill. So yeah, I'd probably grab that one. And next, I'm going to talk about the Magik skin. Now, this is one of the ones that people have been wanting for a long time. People have been consistently asking for. I'm not going to lie. This has probably been one of like my favorite skins. I've said in a previous video before this season released, and I was saying that if they release this skin for Magik, Magik skins sell. That's just kind of the thing with games like this, where there are skins and cosmetics and stuff. Whenever they have a particular character and they tend to release a bunch of skins for that character, like Magik, that's usually indicative of the fact that they're selling, right? So I would not be surprised if they release this skin. Like I said, I think the comics and what they have going on, especially the fact that they're tying into what's happening in the game and stuff, it's they're running parallel. I definitely think it's a good sign that they're more than likely going to end up releasing this as a bundle. Not to mention, I mean, why not, right? Like you're just going to be printing money at that point, because people have been asking for it, and that there's a market for Magik and her skins and stuff. I mean, when the game first came out, people weren't as into Magik. I think that's kind of obvious. When games first release, people tend to go with characters that they understand easily and stuff, whereas when time goes on, people start to realize like, oh, Magik and Wolverine are actually really good, and etc., right? So I will be interested to see if they release this skin, especially with the fact that this is a skin that they didn't give her like a different outfit like they've done for a lot of different people. They just gave her the same outfit from the original Hellfire Gala in the comics, outside of the Marvel Rival comics. So next we're going to talk about the Thing. Now, what I find funny about the Thing is that this whole as you can see in the picture, he's got a thong on. You know what I'm saying? He's got a male thong on, right? And this is funny because this is kind of like, to me, the same thing with the Venom twerking emote. It seems like the devs and, I don't know how much input Marvel actually has in regards to all of this stuff. I'm sure Marvel they basically gave them like parameters that they kind of had to stay inside of. They couldn't just do whatever they wanted to. But at the same time, it seems like they're kind of like just letting them go with the flow. They see the success of the game, and they're just kind of saying like, hey, whatever. And they're falling into the memes. I remember back with Morbius. You guys remember when they said it's Morbin time, and people were making fun of Morbius. And later on, like in a comic, I can't remember exactly which one, but he actually said like it's Morbing time, and people were saying that they were going to make a sequel, and that somewhere in the sequel he was actually going to say Morbing time. Now, as far as them making a sequel and stuff, I don't know how much gravity that actually has, but it seems like Marvel is really starting to kind of like fall into these memes and stuff. Like I said, like with Venom twerking, people had made jokes about that for the longest time, Venom and Groot and stuff twerking, and the devs said, hey, you know what? Why not just throw it in the game, right? And now we have Venom twerking in a game. If you would have told me like 2 months ago that that would be something that I could do in a video game, I would have looked at you like you were crazy, right? But, you know, here we are, and it just goes to show that that's how much I know, right? Which is nothing. So as you can see, we're more than likely going to be getting you know, the thing with a thong on, and I find that to be just hilarious. And I know there's a lot of people who, you know, they sit back and they go, oh well, the thing would never wear a thong. Bro, it's a comic book character, right? Like, there's certain things you just don't do with certain characters. You know, I can admit that. You know, it's like with Batman, you don't allow Batman to shoot guns. That's just not like that goes against everything that he stands for as a character. That's kind of like his one rule is that, I mean, obviously a lot of superheroes don't shoot guns, but with Batman specifically, he does not ever pick up a gun. That's not his thing. There's a whole reason for that, and it makes sense, and it fits his character. Spider-Man, he's never, Uncle Ben always has to die. There can't be a period of time where you're just like, why don't we just let Uncle Ben live? Like, no, that just, there's certain things that have to be a certain way. The X-Men have to be the outcast of society. We can never get to a point where the X-Men are like hailed as heroes and everybody loves the X-Men, right? It has to always be a thing where they go, oh man, the X-Men, you know, they're trying to take over, you know, or you know, take us over as far as like, you know, genetically and stuff like that, and you know, be superior to us, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, like I said, with me personally though, I find this stuff to be funny, and I think it's, you know, all in jest, and you know, I think that's how it should be, right? It shouldn't be like, to me, that's Marvel for you. Marvel shouldn't be so serious. It can be at times, but at the same time, like, it should be lighthearted and fun. If I want to read super serious like stories, that's where I go to DC, where everything is dark and it's serious, and you know, serious stuff happens, right? But for the most part, let it be fun. Now, last thing that I want to cover is Squirrel Girl. This skin right here that she's rocking, well, I mean, it's not a skin, it's a comic, so it's not a skin, it's just her outfit, right? This beach outfit, like I had on the thumbnail, if that's the one that you happen to see, like I said, YouTube lets you test out thumbnails, so, you know, I'll put up one sometimes to see what you guys like more than the other one, etc., right? And then whichever one gets clicked on more, after 14 days or so, that'll become the permanent one. Nonetheless, though, the mock-up that I made of what it could potentially look like in game, obviously it's a little more anime style, but you get the idea of what it could potentially look like. And this is another skin where I'm just gonna be real with you. You're talking about an ATM of where you can just print money off this skin. If they drop this, I'm getting this immediately. And the thing is I don't even usually really use Squirrel Girl unless you're just running like 3 tanks on your team, and I just really gotta, you know, put out that damage just to get to the point or something, and I'll usually switch. But I will rock this thing religiously though. You know, this skin for me would be the equivalent of like, you know, that purple Psylocke skin that everybody was oh my god, or the Punk Child for Magik. You know, that's me with Squirrel Girl. You know, I've always been a Squirrel Girl, you know, May, you know, Velma type of guy. I like my women, you know, short, thick, and with bubbly personalities. You know what I mean? And if you're the same way, respect. You know, but that's just me though, and that's what I think. You know, but like I said, though, those are the skins that I saw in the comics or in the comic so far from, you know, the images that have been posted online and stuff like that. And I'm definitely going to go ahead and sign up for the online thing as far as Marvel goes, to be able to read their comics and stuff, since they're, you know, not putting everything in the stores, which I really wish they would. But I get it though. Maybe they feel like they're not going to sell as well. Even though when I went in the comic book store earlier, it's funny to me, they actually had their comics like out in the front, like, you know, because the store I go to, they have kind of like their out, you know, front section where you walk in initially, and everything was kind of like set up for Marvel Rivals characters. You could tell they had them all on like the main shelves and stuff, and when you go in the back, that's where they just kind of had everything else, you know, all in the back, and they have the boxes where you can find, you know, pretty much anything you're looking for and stuff. So clearly this game has become popular enough to where it's starting to get people into comic books and stuff. So I'm curious as to why they, you know, they're not putting them out in the stores and stuff. Maybe they're just kind of skeptical. They're letting the hype build up for them. I don't know, but I really wish they would have them out in physical copies. But nonetheless, though, let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for these skins? Do you not really care? You know, everything in between. What are your thoughts on them and stuff like that? Also, too, let me know what you guys think about season 2. I told you guys, told me in the last video, but, you know, there's only so many people that, you know, actually talked about that versus the actual topic of the video. But like I said, I'm genuinely curious to know what your thoughts and opinions are and stuff. Anything that I see enough people commenting on in regards to the game, I'll usually try to make a video about that and talk about it and analyze it and stuff. So, you know, me personally, I've been having a great time, but at the same time, I'll be honest with you, the last couple of days, all I've been doing is grinding out Lord on Spider-Man. I'm right there, like at the end. So, you know, but I've also been trying to, you know, do dad stuff the last couple of days on the weekend and, you know, spend time with the family and stuff. So this week I'm really going to get back into the grind and, you know, just start grinding out ranked and stuff. And also too, I think another video that I'm going to be doing pretty soon is going to be doing a console comparison versus a PC comparison of ranked and seeing, you know, if it's just as easy to get to certain ranks on console as it is PC. And, you know, or if there's a difference, because I've been hearing people say lately that whatever rank you are in PC is like whatever rank you are in console is like 2 ranks below PC. And I'm really curious to see if that's the case or if that's just something that people say to make themselves feel better, whatever. So let me know what you guys think about that. If that's a video that you'll be interested in. If so, I'll go ahead and jump right on that. Nonetheless, though, that's all I have to cover in this video. And I'll catch you on the next one. It's dark. I'm out.